Okay. So now the second question. How do these three key areas of learning and development, the knowledge, skills, and values, connect and relate to each other? Could you give examples?
Okay. The way I want to answer this question is to go around it a bit instead of really coming back to each of the learning outcomes I mentioned. I want to kind of give the big picture or the big idea. It not arrives me to, but it drives me to. Anyways, when I saw this question today and I was thinking about it, it brought me back to one memory. And so I would like to share that memory and also to reflect a bit on the new context this course provides for my memory. When I was 18 or 17, after my first year of studying in Norway in United World College International School, I came back for summer holidays to Lithuania. And I don't know who I was talking to, but I remember very well saying that after they asked me, what are you going to do after, or what are you going to do with the education you are getting, I sincerely said that I'm gonna come back to Lithuania and do education reform. Maybe a bit because I was getting such a transformative education, and also by then I had a lot of non-formal education experiences at that time in life. So my view of education was already different, and also I was frustrated to see that so much that can be done is not being done in Lithuania. I had a lot of issues or critical thoughts about the state of education in Lithuania in particular, but now everywhere. So it's funny that this course reminded me of those thoughts that I had about starting a fundamental education reform. And I'm thinking that this course gives a new context to it, because maybe it's not a coincidence that I was immediately attracted to taking part in this course when I saw it, because it made a lot of sense. It was a timely and practical educational opportunity for me, but in the essence what this short course does, and the bigger idea, establishing the 2-year masters in European Youth Studies, made a lot of sense, and the approach that the pioneering professors and institutions have in conducting these MA studies is also quite revolutionary and forward-looking. And also, maybe it's not a coincidence that I'm actually writing my reflective essay, my final major work of this short course, also on the fundamental changes needed in the approach to education. I won't go too much into it, as you will have to read my essay anyway, so you will find out what my thoughts are. But this course really puts the wings, I think, behind that idea I had, and it's funny to remember it now, about, I shouldn't say it loud, about 7 or 8 years later. About 7 or 8 years later, I'm still with these thoughts, except for I'm gaining a lot of experience and ground thanks to this learning opportunity, but in general, if I combine all my previous experiences. So maybe, speaking of answering this question and speaking of the new opportunities this course is opening to me, I definitely see myself in the future in about, broadly speaking, 3 fields. One is dance, one is going back to teaching, because I love that, and then another one absolutely is non-governmental, non-profit sector. So either combining these 3 or in any of the 3 mentioned fields, I think this is definitely rather the beginning of my 17-year-old idea than the end, and at this point it's a bit of a dream, because I don't know if there will be ever scholarships for the 2-year MA degree, but I would really love to actually go on and do this for real, do this 2 years, not 3 months, do this in detail, step by step, fully, in other contexts, being in the classroom, as I already talked about it. So I guess this is my answer. This is the big picture, or kind of the opening window that this course gave to me.
Okay, thank you. The third question is which areas for personal and professional learning and development would you consider as priorities for your future learning?
Okay, I would like to reflect and focus on 2 major points, and I think they are so fundamental that if I would really progress and work on these 2, both on personal level and on professional level, it would absolutely enhance my productivity and as well as quality of my output, whatever it is, as I said already. Okay, so the first point, I should never, ever, ever compare myself to others. And I think this is very important, also relating back to my little confession about groupthink and how I cut myself short in this course to an extent. I think it's important not to compare yourself to anyone, but really focus sincerely on being the best that you can be. Do your best performance. Challenge yourself in comparison to yourself, not to anyone else, because otherwise it cuts you short both ways. And I mean it both ways, not just don't compare yourself to those who do less, put less effort, I don't know, are less committed to something, because then you will do just a bit more, just enough. That's a more obvious one. But I think it's also very important also not to compare yourself to someone who you think is better quote unquote than you, and I don't know, more productive, more appealing, because then you will compare yourself and you will think, well, I cannot be like that, I cannot do that, and then you end up maybe not doing anything, or thinking you cannot do something which you can actually do, and maybe really well or even better. So that's one thing I absolutely need to apply and learn to do, is never to compare myself. And then another one that I think is a major problem is perfectionism, and I absolutely have to let go of that. Many times finding myself in the same situation now again, when the deadline is tomorrow and I still have a lot of loose ends to finish, a lot of things to finalize. Always I ask myself why I work best under pressure, why I perform best under pressure. It's so stressful, it's not worth it. I wish I could do this, what I'm doing now, without the time pressure. And I always ask myself, and other people would say, well, this is just the way you work. But to be honest, today I kind of arrived to an insight, to an important conclusion that I think will help me later on, because now I'm more aware of it. I always thought perfectionism is a problem, but I never connected it in this explicit way, the way I did today, to this question, why I work like this, why I work best under pressure. Perfectionism is the answer, because only under the pressure of time I have a switch in my head where the getting something done becomes much more important than doing it perfectly. So that is why I when there's real time pressure, I have no choice but to let go of perfectionism, and all of a sudden I become productive. Whereas when I don't have the time pressure, I have this idea of how something should be, and then I'm so focused on this idea that I lose the time and the energy and my thoughts. My thoughts are not committed to action, to actually doing something. I'm thinking about how it should be done, as opposed to just slowly getting there, doing it step by step. So for me, it's a nice discovery, because I always ask myself why, and I never really connected it. So a second learning point that I need to apply in my personal and professional life is just forget it. Admit it, it cannot be perfect, it won't be perfect, just do it. So these are my two things I'm taking with me as I continue my work and my learning. And the genius from Lisbon.